right, then I hereby call to order this meeting of the Board of Directors of Strategic Housing Finance Corporation at 11 o'clock, June 12th. Our first order of business today is administrative, and we're going to proceed to, our first order of business is the call to order by our assistant, Ms. Honeycutt.
President Jan Winning.
Present.
First Vice President Keisha Prince.
Here.
Second Vice President Ashley Huddleston.
Here.
Director Julio Gonzalez Altamirano.
Here.
Director Dalit Becker.
We're checking to see if she's joining remotely.
And Director Carrie Dorman.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Confirmation of quorum. Thank you so much, Ms. Honeycutt. And now we will proceed to the item number 2 that I'm so happy about. It is to welcome our new appointee, Ms. Beatrice Arce. And if you would join me, we're going to do the oath of office right here. And do you have a copy of it for your reference? Okay. All right, so if you'll just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
Beatrice Arce,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered,
promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute
promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value, or promised any public office
any money or thing of value, or promised any public office
or employment
or employment
for the giving or withholding
for the giving or withholding
of a vote at the election
of a vote at the election
at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment.
or as a reward to secure my appointment.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas and Travis County,
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas and Travis County,
I
I, Beatrice Arce,
do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute
do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute
the duties of a director of the Board of the Strategic Housing Finance Corporation
the duties of a director of the Board of Finance Strategic Housing Finance Corporation of Travis County,
and will to the best of my ability preserve,
and will to the best of my ability preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and the laws of the United States and the state of Texas.
and the laws of the United States and the state of Texas.
Congratulations and welcome to the All right. Well, with that happy outcome, we will move forward to item number 3. Ms. Honeycutt, I think, has left the room to check on this. We're checking to see if anyone has signed up for public comment. Nobody has signed up for public comment. Okay. So at this time, we have no one for our citizen communication to hear from today, and we'll move forward to item number 4, the director's report. Madam ED, you now have the floor.
Thank you, President Wenig and directors. We will have a brief director's report today, as we do have a pretty packed agenda. And so I'll go over some calendar overview and reminders, and then our other directors will share some highlights with you on the financial report, portfolio, data management, and legislative session. Next slide, please. So as a reminder of upcoming items, we actually just forwarded to you an invitation for a site visit that we are doing next week at 11 o'clock, and that for Silver Springs and Heights at Parmer. Reach out if you have any questions. We will meet here, and we typically carpool or just use Uber. as a group to visit some of our sites, and for the benefit of Director Arce, we are trying to do these about monthly so that directors and staff have an opportunity to visit the properties that we are invested in. Next week also, we will have executive committee, and on the 18th, we have real estate committee scheduled. Next month, our board meeting is scheduled for the 10th, and Finance and Administration Committee follows on the 14th. I do want to note that the Texas Association of Affordable Housing Providers Conference is here in Austin, July 21st through 23rd. I believe we do have several directors registered. I'm not sure if late registration is still available. We would have to check, but let us know if you are interested in attending. It's nice because it is local. Yes, ma'am.
Just for the benefit of some newer directors, we explain the line item and our commitment to training of directors and how the expenses are covered.
Certainly. I do not remember off the top of my head what the budget amount is, but know that we do separately budget for board members, conference attendance, training, et cetera, and your development in your service. And so that is something that is available to you, and we encourage you to take advantage of. Several staff will also be attending.
And I think 2 board members are already enrolled as registered, is that correct?
2 board members?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. And then I think as a bit of news, we were previously tentatively scheduled to present for our fall briefing to the Travis County Commissioners Court on September 18th. That happens to conflict with another conference that is happening in Round Rock, the Texas Association of Local Housing Finance Agencies, which is essentially our industry association. And so we have approached the county about potentially changing that date to August 16th.
October?
Also October, also known as October. Sorry. Thank you. Yes, to October. We, as you may recall, the county asks us to have that briefing submitted to them a full month before the date, and so in the coming couple months, we will begin to develop that and be in communication, primarily with executive committee, but with the whole board about what that will look like. If you have a conflict for that date, please do let us know so that we're certain that we at least have critical mass and ideally everyone present, which is the request typically of the Commissioners Court.
Yeah, just to repeat, it is a request of our appointers that each and every one of us be present at these biannual briefings. So take a good look at that date and get some feedback to Ms. Gray if that looks like a conflict. There is an option to join remotely live streaming, but it takes a special request, yeah.
Finally, we wanted a quick reminder. I think President Wenig has been encouraging staff and board to make use of the board forum as a way to communicate, ask questions, and get answers in between board meetings, and particularly, but not limited to, board book items. There is functionality in that forum to get notifications when something posts. If you're not getting that already, reach out to Kevin and he can work with you to make sure that that is set. Next slide, please. Next, I just wanted, as a quick reminder, I think as a matter of practice, to give the board a sense of some of the things that staff are working on and that you are likely to see come before you in the coming months. Our work plan for May through August includes some significant items. I'm not going to read each of these, but we will be redesigning the monthly financial reports. And staff is also beginning to work on 2026 revenue projections. We are slated to brief the board in August as sort of the kickoff to our annual budget process, which we anticipate likely providing for the board a staff proposed budget in September. The 2024 audit is ongoing, but in the fall that will be complete and we will bring it to the board. Various policies and procedures are underway. Next month, we do anticipate bringing an update to our deal terms for both workforce projects and tax credit projects, and so that's quite significant, especially as we have some legislative changes to incorporate. As you may recall, when we did the portfolio overview in January, we committed to come back to the board mid-year and at the end of the year with our developing sort of suite of reports and risk rating. Right now that is slated for August so that we can include data from full January through June. We'll be working also on identifying uses for our housing production fund and potentially pulling in some additional third-party services to our attorneys and other advisors in the real estate space. Legislative session, as you know, has been completed. We're continuing to work on understanding the impacts of that. We've completed the tenant protections update. We still have on planning and external affairs coming back to the board on construction standards. We have slated piloting some initial focus groups or surveys of tenants so that we can continue to better understand what we do and how it impacts the well-being of tenants on site. And then finally, we're continuing to work in the early stages of mapping out what our public worker preference might look like. And that's, of course, a policy that asks some of our developers to set aside units for employees of our public jurisdictions. Next slide, please. With that, I am going to hand it over to Director Katie Adams for the financial report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have on the screen some of the highlights from April. You also have in your packets the financial narrative. The things that I most want to highlight are that currently revenue is really significant against budget. We are well exceeding budget in revenue because specifically of the sale of some properties and changes in terms that are in the portfolio. We do have some notes in the financial narrative that when excluding the income from those sales and refinancing, we are currently behind budgeted revenue projections. At this point in the year, because of our budget methodology, we would expect to have received 33% of our total annual revenue. However, to date, we have received 9%. So we are working on figuring out, kind of the timing moving forward of some of our revenue, since it does tend to be unevenly distributed. Next slide.
May I make a quick note?
Please do.
Director Adams? I would just note that rather than a sale, the income was from the restructuring of the Silver Springs, just so we didn't fully sell that property. We are still in the project, but the partnership was restructured.
Thank you. I apologize.
No worries.
The name of the line that the income falls in is sales and refinancing distributions. We also have a quick update on our current cash distribution. We have fully funded the Housing Production Fund at $15 million. The operating reserve is also fully funded currently. What you see here is those outlined, as well as our operating cash, both in our IBC account as well as in our tax pool investment account. Currently, we are doing pretty well in terms of our operating reserves. However, because of the kind of lower cash balance in IBC that we're seeing, we will be making some distributions in the coming months out of the unallocated cash and tax pool into the IBC account to ensure consistent operations, since revenue has been slower to date.
And just to do some quick math, in between the unallocated cash and tax pool, the cash in our RBC operating account, and our operating reserves, we have 29 months of operating cash on hand, which is quite solid.
Yes. Typically, organizations of our size, I would say, are looking to maintain reserves between 6 to 12 months.
Any questions for Director Adams?
Does any director wish to have a clarifying question posed at this time? We're moving through rather quickly, but if there's a term you don't understand, or if there's a line item that was confusing, or if you didn't get your questions answered on the forum, is there a clarifying question you want to ask?
Is there...
Director Huddleston, you have the floor.
Is there something that's leading us to not get the revenue? Or what's the biggest revenue item that we're not seeing materialize?
I think something that we have flagged that is a little bit unusual is we need to map out the structure of the deals to determine what our revenue schedule is. That's not something that has, been formalized with this organization yet. And it's something that we're working towards. Something that I've noticed is that though we maybe expect or anticipate regular distributions of certain fees, we do have some partners who are kind of paying on a different than anticipated schedule. And so there is a process that needs to take place, reconciling, what is written in the agreements, what is happening in actuality, and how can we align those.
The other thing I would say is that our revenue is fundamentally lumpy. So, while most of our deals do have some annual payments, which might be bond fees or cash flow distribution, which of course this year we expect to be modest, significant portions of our revenue come when transactions occur. And so if a closing is delayed or doesn't happen, that sort of movement by 2 or 3 months has a very significant impact on our.
And I would just
If we could just look forward to more explanations in the future, I think we'll tie it up here for
Okay.
now, because we have about 10 more minutes for this item. Is that okay,
Of course.
Director?
Well, just one comment is that
Yeah.
I'm just going to hazard a guess of 95% of our income fees are cash flow dependent. And we're in a market where a lot of our properties are not necessarily cash flowing right now.
Very helpful.
And so it's not surprising that we're not receiving a lot of income.
That's very helpful to tag it that way. Looking forward to more information. Thank you, Director ED. You can continue.
All right. All right, then we will move on to the next slide.
I'm going to move quickly through this because there is a lot of information on here, but there's also a lot of missing information clearly. So here's our April 2025 portfolio data report. We are still in the midst of working with Lobby CRE, which is the platform we've chosen to help us with integrating all of the different property management softwares that are used at our different partnerships into a single platform. It's been a slower process than we had hoped for. So that's where you're seeing a number of properties where we might have a couple pieces of information, but other information that's missing. Most of the properties have been quite responsive to working with Lobby. Not all of them have been. And I had noted this before, but I'll just say it again. We do have 5 properties that are not at all connected to Lobby. For 3 properties, that's because they use a proprietary software that is not compatible. And then with 2 properties, our RISE partnerships, they have not been responsive to connecting with Lobby. And so we've received some PDF reports without a lot of additional information. We are hoping to get to some greater level of consistencies moving forward, but for now this is the level of information that we do have. So on the next slide, I'll just take a high look at the KPIs that we're tracking. Next slide, please. In small font. Okay. So just as a reminder, we are working towards consistently tracking these 5 KPIs on a monthly basis. We have additional data points that we are looking at in our risk rating, which is something that we are doing at this point as kind of an end of year and mid-year reporting. But starting off, we have end of month occupancy, which the good news is it's actually slightly trending up for the portfolio for the first time this year. So we are happy to see, or not for the first time, but so we are happy to see that trend, which does seem to match what we're seeing in the overall market, that things are not stabilizing yet, but seem to be trending in a more positive direction. That said, we do have a handful of properties with exceptionally low occupancy rates that we are aware of. When we looked at aged receivables, one of which is to say we're looking at how much outstanding unpaid rent is owed at the property, which can be a sign of a number of different potential issues. We do have one property with a very high aged receivable account, and that's Wild Horse. which is one of our newest properties in the portfolio that recently converted to permanent financing. They have they have some different struggles that we think are happening, some of them related to being a newer property. And we expect that some of this is why we're seeing the high age receivables. Moving on to operation costs per unit, we had a pretty limited amount of data to pull from on this particular KPI. That said, one property that had a very low OpEx, at least specifically for April, was Creekview, which is one of our RISE properties. We've had really limited communication from property management in general, so we at this time are not aware of why the OpEx was quite so low, but we will follow up and see if we can get a response. Budget variance also had a very limited data pool. This has been one that's been really difficult in lobby to ensure that everybody is calculating budget variance in the same way. So we're still working through that. That said, again, we had some properties that still look like they've got some really high monthly variances, namely our 2 RISE partnerships and then Wild Horse coming up again. And then finally on turnover rate, most of the properties actually seem to have, for the ones we had the data pulled for, do seem to be in a normal kind of turnover rate level, with the exception of Wild Horse, which does track with some of the other issues that seem to be popping up there. So I'll stop and see if you all have any questions.
Any clarifying questions, things you didn't understand? We really appreciate the concise data that you're providing us with, and at a future meeting, it'll be great to explore some of these issues that need our attention further, but appreciate that portion of your report, Madam Director.
Yes, next slide, please. So as you know, the 89th legislative session ended June 2nd. And I want to say as a prelude to Jim's discussion here that we are still working with council to understand some of the impacts as well as with our developers, but would want to give you a preview of that at this time and expect that the conversation will continue into the future. Jim?
Yes, thank you.
Can you, I'm sorry, for the benefit of the public and particularly our new board member, perhaps introduce
Sure,
yourself.
absolutely. Yeah, good morning, directors. My name is Jim Ward. I'm the Director of Planning and External Affairs here at Strategic Housing Finance Corporation. And yes, I have spent a lot of time both at the Capitol and looking at legislative activity over the last several months. And so this is not a full legislative summary. It is focused specifically on House Bill 21, which is also kind of billed as HFC reform. So House Bill 21 is modeled after Public Facility Corporation legislation that passed in the last legislative session, and really seeks to put some guardrails on how housing finance corporations use their tax abatement powers with respect to workforce or mixed income housing. So the bill focuses on 3 broad categories: jurisdiction, affordability, and compliance. The primary need identified going into this legislative session was jurisdictional. So there has been this phenomenon over the last 2 to 3 years of what so-called traveling HFCs. And Kevin, if you could go to the next slide, please. Or yeah, it's Kevin. And so House Bill 21 does do away with the phenomenon of traveling HFCs. So moving forward, housing finance corporations can operate exclusively within their sponsoring jurisdiction, or with the explicit consent of both the jurisdiction where they operate and also any housing finance corporations in that area. And so in addition to the limitation on traveling HFCs, we also see a couple of other things that are of note. Moving forward, mixed income deals will require a LIHTC style or low income housing tax credit style public hearing. And additionally, emergency services districts and municipal utility district taxes are no longer abated by default. In addition, which is not captured on this slide, we also, organizationally, there are a couple of other things that are of note. Formalizing the Texas Public Information Act for housing finance corporations. So previously that was done under Attorney General opinion. It is now codified into state law that housing finance corporations are in fact subject to the Texas Public Information Act. And additionally, the Texas Open Meetings Act was also included in this legislation as a requirement for HFCs. Not captured again on any of these three broad categories, the bill also introduces tenant protections. So there are some basic tenant protections that come with House Bill 21 that include non-discrimination requirements, source of income, or acceptance of housing choice vouchers, some transparency requirements that I think are a little bit beyond the scope of this update, but also some lease requirements that were shared on the board forum. So if you're interested to learn more before our next update, you can visit the forum. Additionally, the bill introduces affordability requirements via a required rent reduction. So moving forward, HFC transactions, non-LIHTC transactions will need to demonstrate a minimum rent reduction of 50% of the abated tax ad valorem taxes, which for strategic we had voluntarily implemented a 60% threshold, so we anticipate that to have very little material impact on our portfolio or future transactions. And I think finally, compliance. So the bill also introduces some compliance requirements which require the HFC to demonstrate that annually 50% of the rents are returned to the community, or 50% of the abated value of the taxes are returned to the community in the form of rent. Next slide, please. And so implementation, this is a big question for folks. So immediately, HFCs are required to comply with TOMA and the Texas Public Information Act. And starting January 1, all HFCs will be required to adopt the tenant protections. And we're also anticipating TDHCA rulemaking to be released around January 1, fingers crossed. Because on June 1, the first annual compliance reports are due to TDHCA. For those traveling HFCs, they'll have until January 1, 2027 to come into full compliance with the requirements of this new legislation. And then I put the next first day of the 90th session because we're anticipating to have additional housing reform coming through in 2027. And then for existing mixed income deals, the bill provides a 10-year runway to come into full compliance with the affordability requirements laid out in the bill, unless immediate compliance is triggered by a sale or refinance or repositioning of the transaction. And with that, I will stop talking. If there are any questions for me, I'm happy to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ward. Yes, Director.
Thank you. On the rulemaking, excuse me, is there a chance for public comment during the rulemaking process?
That is a good question. I don't know that I was around for PFC rulemaking. I don't imagine that we would have the same type of input as like on the qualified allocation plan, but presumably there would be some interfacing with the public before that rulemaking is finalized.
Thank you.
Any other clarifying questions or additional information people want to consider at this point? And of course, this is ongoing. And again, today's report's a little shortened because of the weight of the items on the agenda. But I appreciate everybody coming forward with these concise reports today. It's very, very helpful. Does that conclude what you had to bring to us? Then I have a tag on to the director's report today that I just wanted to get into the record, and I'll give a copy to Ms. Honeycutt about it. But in discussions with our Executive Director Gray this week, she expressed the need to have a specialized committee available to assist with ongoing legal issues. And in response to this request, and in accordance with Article 4, Section 7 of our bylaws, which reads, quote, "The board president or the board of directors by resolution shall create such other committees as may be needed to carry on the business of the organization and shall designate the size, composition, duties, organization, administration, and duration of such committees. I establish the Ad Hoc Legal Matters Committee, which will operate the same as all other committees of the board. The members are myself and Director Dorman, who will act as chair. The initial charge of the committee is to assist our executive director as needed, including liaising with council, partners, and other stakeholders. And I will be sending a more detailed email regarding the purpose and scope of this ad hoc committee, but the committee work will begin immediately. So just want to share that announcement, and I have a copy for you. Thank you again for those reports and my announcement. And proceeding now to item number 5 on the consent agenda. Today, our consent agendas consist of routine items that are provided previously for board review and should introduce no new information that hasn't been previously discussed or reviewed. And the way the consent agenda works is that if, barring any objections, they are entered in as a unanimous consent to the item. So we have one item on the consent agenda today. It's item A, approval of the minutes from the May 8th, 2025 regular meeting. Is there any objection to approving these unanimously? Hearing none, they are so moved. Proceeding on with our agenda for today, we do have an action item, number 6, for a resolution number SHFC 2025-16, consideration and possible action on a resolution directing the executive director to negotiate an agreement with 42 Equity and other entities related to real estate developments owned by Texas Lakeway Apartments LP, Texas Creekview Austin LP, Austin Colorado Creek Apartments LP, and Texas Austin Manor LP. For this item, we will be discussing it under consultation with our attorney who's joined us, and we will be going into executive session under the Texas Government Code annotated 551.071, consulting with an attorney. Is there a motion to go into executive session from the director?
So moved.
Director Altamirano, and seconded by Director Dorman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then we're going to clear the room except for those parties germane to this discussion. I'll leave it to Director Gray to designate her staff, and all directors should stay put for a minute while we shuffle and while our attorney joins us. All right, if we're ready. Then according to the clock on the wall, I will call to order this open meeting of Strategic Housing Finance Corporation back to order at 1:22 p.m. And we're in the middle of our agenda for today, June 12th, and we will be proceeding on to an action item, item 6. And that item is noted as A on your agendas, resolution number SHFC-2025-16. Would directors like me to read that resolution into the record? Or do you feel like you have it in front of you adequately at this time? In general, it's a consideration and possible action on this is the resolution directing the executive director to negotiate an agreement with 42 Equity and other entities related to real estate developments owned by Texas Lakeway Apartments LP, Texas Creekview Austin LP, Austin Colorado Creek Apartments LP, and Texas Austin Manor LP. In order to put this into discussion, we're going to start with a motion to adopt. And do we have one?
I move adoption of the resolution, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And a second. And is there any discussion at this time of the motion that we have considered an executive session under consult with attorney? No further discussion?
Madam President, who seconded it?
It was,
Okay.
thank you. And with no further comments, then we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Moving forward to a discussion items number 7, as listed on our agenda. This item is the midterm evaluation for Executive Director, Ms. Gray. This item likewise falls under executive sessions permitted under the law in the state of Texas, and that's Texas Government Code annotated 551.074 for personnel matters. Is there a motion to move to executive session for discussion of this item? Director Prince has moved and Director Dorman has seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All those abstaining? Any abstentions? We have one abstention. And we shall be moving then at this time into executive session. If we can clear the room of everybody except directors of the board, and we'll be calling upon our executive director very shortly. So don't go too far. Okay, directors, we are hereby back in an open session for our June 12th meeting of the Strategic Housing Finance Board of Directors, and we've progressed through our agenda and are now on item number 8, new and unfinished business, which there is none of at this time.
Madam President, could you state what time y'all came back?
Oh, 2:22.
Okay.
Having no new and unfinished business, then, and no other business needs to be followed up from this existing agenda, I hereby adjourn the meeting at 2:23 p.m. on June 12th. Now we are done. Thank you all for hanging in here.
Yes.
Welcome, Dee. Woo!
Welcome.